HOA Karens smashed public picnic table got sued and fined 200K. The park was alive with laughter, the kind that spills out of kids chasing frisbees and families unpacking picnic baskets. But then, Karen's voice sliced through the joy like a chainsaw through butter. This table is an eyesore, and I'm done tolerating it. Heads turned, jaws dropped, and Marcus, a landscaper who'd spent years tending this park, froze mid-bite of my sandwich. Karen, the self-appointed queen of the Pinewood Homeowners Association, stood by the oak-shaded picnic table, her designer sunglasses glinting with menace. She'd been griping about that table for weeks, too rustic, too old, not up to her gated community standards. I'd heard her rants before, but this time, her face was redder than a summer tomato, and her hands gripped a sledgehammer she'd apparently brought from home. I wasn't the only one staring. Families paused their barbecues, kids stopped mid-game, and even the birds seemed to hush. Karen had been a thorn in everyone's side since she moved into Pinewood, always nitpicking about unmowed lawns or unapproved mailbox colors. But this was next level. "Karen, what are you doing?" I called out, stepping forward, my work boots crunching on the gravel path. She didn't even glance my way. Instead, she hoisted the sledgehammer and swung it down with a grunt. The table's wooden slats splintered with a sickening crack, sending wood chips flying. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A kid burst into tears. "This park is for decent people," Karen shrieked, swinging again. Another plank shattered. "Not this trashy, flea market junk." I clenched my fists, my heart pounding. That table wasn't just wood and nails, it was where I'd carved my initials as a teen, where old man Jenkins proposed to his wife 50 years ago, where kids drew chalk masterpieces on lazy Sundays. It was the heart of Pinewood Park, and Karen was smashing it to bits. "Stop it," Karen shouted Maria, a single mom who ran the community garden. She stormed forward, her apron still dusted with flour from the bake sales she'd been setting up. "You don't get to destroy public property just because you don't like it." Karen spun around, her eyes blazing. "Public. This park is practically my backyard, and I'm making it better." Another swing, another splintered plank. The crowd was growing, teens filming on their phones, retirees muttering, and me, itching to yank that sledgehammer away. But I knew better than to escalate things with Karen. She'd sue you for breathing too loud. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. Old man Jenkins, who usually kept to himself, shuffled forward with his cane. His voice, frail but firm, cut through the chaos. "Karen, that table's been here longer than you've been alive." My Clara sat there when I asked her to marry me. "You're not just breaking wood, you're breaking memories." The crowd went silent. Even Karen paused, her sledgehammer midair. Jenkins' words hit like a gut punch. And for a second, I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd back off. But then she scoffed. "Sentimental nonsense. This park needs progress, not your dusty old stories." That did it. The crowd erupted, shouting, waving fists. Maria grabbed her phone, dialing the park ranger. Kids were crying, teens were yelling, and I was ready to lose it. But before I could act, Karen swung one last time, and the table collapsed into a heap of splinters. She dropped the sledgehammer, dusting her hands like she'd just finished a chore. "You're all welcome," she said to her, smirking. I don't know what made my blood boil more, her smugness or the wreckage at her feet, but I wasn't alone. The crowd pressed closer, their anger a living thing. Maria was on the phone, her voice shaking as she reported the vandalism. Jenkins leaned on his cane, staring at the ruins of his memories. And me, I was done watching. "Karen, you're gonna pay for this," I said, my voice low but steady. She laughed, actually laughed. "Pay? I'm the HOA president. I make the rules around here." Oh, how wrong she was. The park ranger, Officer Torres, arrived within minutes, his truck kicking up dust. He was a no-nonsense guy, built like a linebacker, and when he saw the wreckage, his jaw tightened. "Ma'am, step away from the debris," he said, his voice calm but edged with steel. Karen crossed her arms, uttered defiant. I was improving this park. You should be thanking me. Torres raised an eyebrow, jotting notes on his clipboard. Improving looks like felony vandalism to me. The crowd murmured in agreement, and Karen's smirk faltered. What Karen didn't know was that Pinewood Park wasn't just any public space. It was funded by a community trust, with strict rules about property maintenance. That table, old as it was protected under city ordinances. Destroying it wasn't just a tantrum, it was a legal nightmare. Over the next week, the park became a battleground of whispers and glares. Karen strutted around Pinewood, acting untouchable, but the community was buzzing. Maria started a petition to hold Karen accountable, and it spread like wildfire, hundreds of signatures in days. Jenkins, usually quiet, became the petition's biggest advocate, sharing his story at every community meeting. That table was Clara's favorite spot, he'd say, his voice breaking. Karen didn't just break wood, she broke a piece of us. Then came the unexpected ally Sarah, a quiet paralegal who just moved into Pinewood. She'd been at the park that day, filming the whole thing from behind a tree. Her video, shaky but clear, captured every swing of Karen's sledgehammer, every venomous word. When she posted it online, it went viral, thousands of views, shares, and comments calling for justice. The hashtag #KarenSmashes table trended locally, and Karen's name became synonymous with entitlement. But Karen didn't back down. She doubled down, posting her own video on the HOA's social media, claiming the table was hazardous and she'd done the community a favor. She even had the gall to demand donations for a better table, one that matched her aesthetic. Of course, the audacity made my head spin. The real storm hit when the city filed charges. Vandalism, destruction of public property, and thanks to Sarah's video evidence of premeditation, Karen's sledgehammer wasn't a spur-of-the-moment choice. She'd brought it from home, a fact that made the judge's eyebrows shoot up during the hearing. I was there in the courtroom, squeezed between Maria and Jenkins. Karen sat at the defendant's table, her lawyer whispering frantically. She wore her usual designer sunglasses, as if they'd shield her from reality. The prosecutor laid out the case, the table's historical value, the community's loss, the viral video. Jenkins took the stand, his voice trembling as he spoke about Clara. Maria testified about the bake sale ruined by Karen's outburst. And me, I talked about the park's role as a community anchor, how that table had held countless memories. Karen's defense was laughable. I was acting in the community's interest, she claimed, her voice dripping with self-righteousness. That table was an eyesore. The judge wasn't buying it. When Sarah's video played, showing Karen's gleeful destruction, the courtroom gasped. Karen's face turned ashen. The gavel came down hard, guilty. The fines were staggering, $200,000 to cover the table's replacement, legal fees, and punitive damages for willful disregard of public property. The community trust sued her separately for emotional distress, tacking on more penalties. Karen's HOA presidency revoked, her reputation shredded. As we left the courtroom, the air felt lighter. Jenkins smiled for the first time in weeks, clutching a photo of Clara. Maria hugged Sarah, who turned the tide with her video. And me, I felt a quiet satisfaction, knowing the park would get its table back, a new one, maybe, but still a place for memories. Karen, meanwhile, was left to face the wreckage of her actions. Her house went up for sale a month later. She couldn't afford the fines and the legal battles. Rumor has it she moved to a condo in the city, far from Pinewood's rustic charm. The park, it's thriving again, with a new table engraved with a plaque in memory of Clara, for the community. What do you think? Did Karen get what she deserved? Or was the punishment too harsh? Share your thoughts.